What were the best aspects and the worst aspects? I think you covered some of the worst of that warehousing job.
You are so wise for asking that question, because you know when you get older, you look back and you notice things that you didn't notice at the time. The best aspect of it, I miss it sometimes talking to the guys in the warehouse. There are a lot of really good guys there, and I don't have that social element to the podcast. The other thing is I got to listen to audiobooks all day long. I mean, what other job could I have gotten? I didn't even know I was stumbling into something that would open up so many possibilities for me at the time. It felt like I was just, a day laborer, just like ruined, like just horrible. But yeah, I got to listen to philosophy books all day long and talk radio. I got to listen to like Loveline with Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew and Howard Stern, just like listening to these people paint pictures with their words. It was beautiful. And yeah, I mean, if I worked at an office or if I worked at a fast food place, I easily could have ended up in any of those spots. If I did, I wouldn't have been able to read books 10 hours a day. That was, in retrospect, an amazing thing about the job, yeah.
So for people listening, they may think to themselves, I wouldn't immediately, if I were in your position, find philosophy. Right? It could have been, not to devalue any of these things, but it could have been Hunger Games, could have been any of a million genres, any of a million authors. How did you end up listening to philosophy? Or how did philosophy even enter your life in the first place?
I kind of looked into that one too. I was a dumb 17, 16-year-old kid right on that cusp. But I knew, I was self-aware enough to know that I had had trauma from the messed up childhood that we just talked about. So I didn't want to just spend my whole life taking that out on the people around me. I knew that I needed mentors, and I wasn't in school. I didn't have people to look up to really, and I wasn't talking to my family. So I literally Googled wisest person in the history of the world. It was my best idea I could come up with at the time. And one of Plato's dialogues, Gorgias, came up there, and it talked about this guy Socrates. He's harassing people in the Athenian Agora. He's asking them questions, trying to find a wise man. And I just got hooked, man.
What was it about it that hooked you? Were there any particular aspects that grabbed you? Because a lot of folks, right, listening to this, no doubt, some of them took compulsory classes in school related to philosophy, and they were just like, please shoot me in the head now, right? In some cases, not all cases.
No, I don't blame them.
Right? It did not have that effect on you, at least with your self-directed exploration. What was it that appealed to you or hooked you?
It was voluntary. I mean, that's a big part of it, is I'm not being forced into doing it. This is why I don't want to force my daughter, who's 8, to like think about stuff or ask her philosophical questions. I think the best way to get your kid to not do something is to tell them to do it. So, but aside from the voluntary nature of it, I think that I just have always been somebody that thinks my way out of problems. And so the idea that this is the discipline, if comedians go to a comedy club and it's this pure endeavor of trying to make people laugh, that's what makes a comedian what they are. For philosophy, thinking about things like that, forming new conceptual tracings of reality, seeing it in a new way. I mean, of course I would be attracted to something like that as somebody that always thinks my way out of problems. I mean, that's the only service I can really provide to the people around me that like matter to me.
So for the purposes of this conversation, how would you define or rebrand philosophy for people who have an immediate semi-allergic reaction? Because perhaps they've heard a bunch of ivory tower specialists speaking in riddles or speaking in logic/math puzzles that no one can make any sense of. How would you, I shouldn't say no one. Yes, there are like 17 people who probably make a lot of sense out of all of it. But how do you suggest people think about philosophy?
I mean, those guys, I used to dislike those people. I thought that they were being too selfish. They're making it all about them. I think they have really good intentions. And I think it's hard when you get to be a professor to know what it's like to just be starting out. For me, I would say philosophy, a way that I've heard it described is it's the disruption of common sense. I mean, what is looking at the world at all? It's an approximation. We are works in progress. I look at the world one way for a while, and everybody knows what it's like to change the way that you see everything in the world. And yeah, I mean, I just think that philosophy is the method of doing that. The question is not whether you're going to change the way that you think about things conceptually. The question is, how deliberate are you going to be about it? It's like the gym for rethinking, retracing reality in a new way that opens up new possibilities to you. And it's also something that needs to go on at the highest levels of conversation